Loved by the people, hated by his enemies. An orphan, a war hero, a president, and one of the most polarizing figures in American history. Andrew Jackson's life was a storm, full of triumphs, tragedies, duels, scandals, and battles that would shape the nation forever. To some, he was the defender of democracy. To others, he was its destroyer. This is the untold story of the man who rose from nothing to change America forever. The year was 1767. On the rugged Carolina frontier, Andrew Jackson was born into poverty. His parents were Irish immigrants, scraping by in a land where danger was a daily reality. By the age of 14, Andrew had already lost everything. The Revolutionary War swept through the Carolinas like wildfire. His father died before he was born. His brothers were killed in the conflict, and Andrew himself was captured by the British. When a British officer ordered him to clean his boots, young Jackson refused. The officer slashed him across the face with a sword, leaving scars that never faded, both on his skin and in his soul. Soon after, his mother died of cholera while nursing American prisoners of war. Orphaned, homeless, and furious at the British, Andrew Jackson learned early that the world was harsh and that survival meant fighting back. Jackson became a lawyer in Tennessee, but his reputation wasn't built in courtrooms. It was built in saloons, on dusty streets, and on the battlefield. He was known for his volcanic temper and willingness to duel anyone who insulted his honor. And duel he did, more than once, killing at least one man and carrying bullets in his body for the rest of his life. But Jackson's life would change forever in 1791 when he met Rachel Donaldson Robards. Rachel was warm, intelligent, and strong-willed. She was also trapped in an unhappy marriage to another man. Believing she was divorced, she and Jackson married, only to later discover the divorce hadn't been finalized. The mistake created a scandal that haunted them for decades. Jackson adored Rachel, fiercely defending her honor against every insult. When political opponents attacked her reputation during his presidential campaigns, Jackson never forgave them. Her death just weeks before his inauguration in 1829 left him devastated. He blamed the relentless political mudslinging for her passing, and he carried that bitterness into the White House. But before he was president, he was a soldier. And it was the War of 1812 that turned Andrew Jackson into Old Hickory. The nickname came from his men, who said he was as tough as Hickory wood. He proved it in the Battle of New Orleans in January 1815. Outnumbered and facing seasoned British troops, Jackson's ragtag army of militia, frontiersmen, free black soldiers, Native American allies, and even pirates led by Jean Lafitte pulled off one of the most stunning victories in American history. The British lost over 2,000 men. Jackson lost fewer than 100. News of the victory spread like wildfire, making Jackson a national hero almost overnight. That fame carried him into politics. In 1824, he ran for president against John Quincy Adams, Henry Clay, and William Crawford. Jackson won the most popular votes and the most electoral votes, but not a majority. The House of Representatives decided the outcome. When Speaker of the House Henry Clay threw his support to Adams, and Adams made Clay his Secretary of State, Jackson's supporters cried foul. They called it the corrupt bargain. Jackson was furious, and he did not forget. In 1828, he ran again, this time appealing directly to the common man. He promised to fight for the people against the political elite, and he won in a landslide. But the victory was bittersweet. Rachel had died just before he took office. Jackson entered the presidency as a grieving widower and a man with a score to settle. Jackson's presidency was bold, ruthless, and deeply controversial. One of his first major acts was the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Jackson argued it would open land for white settlers and avoid conflicts between Native Americans and settlers. In reality, it forced tens of thousands of indigenous people from their ancestral lands, leading to the Trail of Tears, a deadly forced march that claimed thousands of lives. To Jackson, it was policy. To history, it was a tragedy. Then came the Bank War. Jackson believed the Second Bank of the United States was corrupt, a tool of the wealthy elite. When Congress voted to renew the bank's charter, Jackson vetoed it, He pulled federal deposits from the bank, effectively killing it. Supporters praised him for standing up to big money. Critics accused him of abusing presidential power. The nullification crisis soon followed. South Carolina threatened to ignore federal tariffs it claimed were unconstitutional. Jackson, a staunch Unionist, responded with a warning. Disunion by armed forces treason. He prepared to send troops to enforce federal law. The crisis ended in compromise, but Jackson's message was clear. The Union came first. Through it all, Jackson's personality loomed large. He was quick to anger, fiercely loyal to friends, and merciless to enemies. He survived the first assassination attempt on a sitting president in 1835, when a gunman's two pistols both misfired, a moment Jackson responded to by beating the man with his cane. He fought in duels, issued fiery vetoes, and expanded the power of the presidency more than anyone before him. By the time he left office in 1837, the presidency was stronger and more divisive than ever. Jackson's legacy is complicated. His face is on the $20 bill, a symbol of his enduring place in American history. His brand of populism, appealing directly to ordinary citizens over political elites, still echoes in modern politics. But his policies toward Native Americans, his defense of slavery, and his sometimes authoritarian style leave deep scars on his record. Was Andrew Jackson a champion of democracy or its enemy? A hero of the people or a dangerous demagogue? The truth is, he was all of it. A man of his time, shaped by the violence and hardship of the frontier, a leader who could inspire loyalty and unleash fury. A president who left America more democratic in some ways and more divided in others. Andrew Jackson was a hero, he was a villain, and he was everything in between. Because history is never simple, and neither are the people who make it.